Good morning, staff and students. I'm Mrs. Johnson, your proud principal. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about our school and our priorities. So as you know, we have over 3,600 people with students and staff who enter our building every day. And my number one priority is safety and security. As you can see right here, you'll see that in my office I have access to all of our cameras, over 110 cameras, to make sure that my Blazers enter our building and exit our building safely every day. So our team, my administrative team, will be speaking to you about our student code of conduct. Please pay attention and make sure you understand your rights and responsibilities, because together we can make sure our large campus stays safe and it's a great place for you to learn every day. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rahman Colvin, Blair's Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator. The presentation you are about to experience is focused on Montgomery County's Code of Conduct. You will hear from both administrators and students about what the Code of Conduct means for Blair. At the conclusion of the presentation, you will be familiar with how to avoid common mistakes, how to properly address bullying and harassment at school, the progressive discipline process, and most importantly, the ideal characteristics your peers think should define our community. Now, when many folks hear Code of Conduct, we automatically think of discipline. The Code of Conduct does address discipline, but it's bigger than that. Over the last year, schools all over the nation have grappled with questioning the proper approach for school discipline, and even the role of law enforcement in schools. Montgomery County Public Schools are no different. Our county has made the decision to employ restorative justice in all schools. Restorative justice is an entire philosophical framework informed by an anti-biased, anti-racist lens that emphasizes bringing together everyone affected by wrongdoing to address needs and responsibilities and to heal the trauma impacting relationships and community to the greatest degree possible. As you listen today, remember that while everyone is accountable for their actions, our goal is to focus less on punishment and more on how to maintain a healthy community and repair damage when individuals cause harm. Thank you for joining us in this effort.
As Mr. Culver has communicated, Blair is aligning its restorative justice practices to MCPS's vision to establish progressive, relationship-centered discipline practices and to disrupt disproportionality in the traditional discipline system. Before we hear of the goals of restorative practices, let's hear from our Blazers of what makes Blair a community and what we're most excited about returning to our building.
So, Mr. Charles, what were you most excited about returning to Blair for?
My students, my colleagues, of course.
The part about being back in the building is seeing my friends and getting to see face-to-face teachers and getting to have help one-on-one. It's great being back in the building. I love seeing the new renovations, and yeah.
My friends, I get to hang out with them.
Helping everybody, in a time of need, like if they're going through something. So either you can help with the littlest things, like maybe helping them practice football or helping them with doing life choices.
Lo que me gusta de regresar a la escuela es que puedo ver a mis amigos y poder crear nuevos amigos y también poder platicar con los maestros, que el primer año no tuve esa experiencia porque fue mi primer año y me tuve que ir, pero ahora puedo disfrutar más, ir a los juegos que tienen, los bailes, todo eso, y la verdad estoy disfrutando mi último año aquí.
What's best about Blair being back is just being surrounded by people just like me, all around my age and stuff,
Something where I'm very excited to come back to Blair.
Definitely being able to have all these resources accessible easily. Like during a virtual school, you have to contact every teacher through emails. Now I can just walk up to their classroom and ask them. So
conocer a más gente y siento que es más fácil poder entender a los maestros porque ellos pueden ayudarte, te explican.
I like the fact that we're back here and we get to meet all our friends and stuff after not seeing them for a year.
I like being back in school because the teachers are forcing me to do my work, so my grades are better.
Because we all live in different places, all different communities, and this is the one community where we all see each other for a good 8 hours a day, and we all make jokes, have fun.
I I like the physical atmosphere of school, like being able to walk around the hallways, being able to easily access your teachers, being able to see your friends. It also helps like keep me from getting more distracted.
To challenge myself, meet new people, make friends, and learn new things.
For me, the best part about being back is getting to see like people face to face.
Lo más emocionante es que este año me gradúo y poder alcanzar lo que yo me he propuesto.
My ideal Blair community would just be everybody being friendly and you could just talk to anybody in the hallway.
I agree with that.
These are goals of restorative practices. Students and staff members are able to build relationships, create connections to the school community, teach conflict resolution skills and empathy, resolve conflict and address harm, and respond restoratively to discipline challenges. Let's listen to how our Blazers would resolve conflict and show empathy.
You know, the best thing you could do is just apologize. Keep in contact with that person. You don't, after you have a confrontation or a problem with that person, you don't want to constantly bring it back up. But you do want to acknowledge them. You do want to acknowledge their emotions. You both want to acknowledge each other's emotions and just work it out, talk. Communication is very important, especially in friendships and relationships. So yeah.
If I harm someone, I would rather just talk it out with them and apologize to them, because if I'm in the wrong, I gotta apologize.
Yeah.
So when me and my friends are having problems, we normally just talk it out. We don't really fight about it.
I think it's definitely very case by case. It depends on whether there's conflict on equal standings. Misunderstandings can be solved by communication. A lot of things can be solved by communication, but in some cases, there's definitely a sort of definite solution. So it's very case by case.
Si lo hicimos intencionalmente o no, pues hay que pedir disculpas. Si alguien se ha lastimado, pues físicamente llevarlo a la enfermería, o emocionalmente pues aconsejarlo si uno sabe cómo ayudar en esa situación a esa persona. Hay que ayudarlo, sino que hay que pedir consejos a los maestros para que nos den ese consejo y nosotros pasárselo a esa persona. Y sobre
It's talking to them and not using physical force and trying to have an open mindset mainly. You gotta kind of just see it from their point of view,
I think the best way to reestablish a relationship, at least from my humble opinion, is to first off give them space, take responsibility for whatever it is that you did, and then apologize. It takes nothing to say sorry. Give them space, and if the relationship doesn't come back to what it used to be, then it doesn't come back to what it used to be. What can you do about it? You messed up.
Pues podríamos hablarnos y pedir disculpas más que todos, y más que todo tiene que estar siempre el respeto y sobre todo no tratar a los demás diferente, no tiene que tratar a las personas iguales y como se merecen.
We are glad to be back in the building among our peers, and we all play a role in creating a space that works for us. The partner to your student code of conduct is your student rights and responsibilities. Within it, you'll find the definition of bullying and harassment. It is intentional, creates a hostile environment, is based on actual or perceived characteristics, and either occurs on school property or disrupts school operations. If you feel that you are being subjected to bullying, harassment, or intimidation, please report it to a trusted adult. Anyone can complete a bullying, harassment, or intimidation report, the target, witness, parent, or staff member. This form sets in motion an investigation by an administrator during which we speak to all parties involved, determine consequences, and find ways to reestablish a safe and just school environment that we all want to be a part of.
The purpose of the Student Code of Conduct is to promote fairness and equity through clear, appropriate, and consistent expectations for behaviors. The Student Code of Conduct is a philosophy of discipline with protocols for appropriate responses when actions are required to remedy and restore an orderly and safe learning environment focused on teaching and learning. Protocols for addressing student misconduct are aligned with federal and state requirements as well as board policies and MCPS regulations. This Student Code of Conduct is a living document, and MCPS is committed to engaging with students, parents and guardians, and our entire community in refining our disciplinary practices to reflect our core values of learning, relationships, respect, excellence, and equity. Students are expected to engage in the process of setting positive expectations for conduct in an environment of mutual respect and dignity. My words, actions, and attitudes demonstrate respect for myself and others at all times. I demonstrate pride in myself, in my future, and in my school by arriving on time, dressed appropriately, and prepared to focus on my studies. I always seek the most peaceful means of resolving conflict and obtain the assistance of teachers, administrators, or school staff when I am unable to resolve conflicts peacefully on my own. I seek to correct any harm that I have caused to others in the school community. I take pride in promoting a safe and clean learning environment at my school. Personal electronic devices. You may use your electronic devices before school, during lunch, and between classes. Remember, while you're using your electronic devices, keep your volume low and remove your headbuds or headphones upon request by any staff member. Any electronic device that you have must be out of sight upon entering your classroom. In the classroom, electronic devices are permitted for educational purposes only at the discretion of the teacher. Confiscated cell phones will be turned into security and will be returned to you at the end of the school day. Students may not film other students without their permission. Montgomery Blair High School is not responsible for any stolen or damaged electronic devices. Cyberbullying is harassment and intimidation. Cyberbullying means a communication transmitted by means of an electronic device and includes the use of social media sites. Be respectful of diverse opinions and beliefs of others. Therefore, do not engage in conduct that endangers or threatens the safety of students. Do not bully, harass, or intimidate students. Do not engage in conduct that is rude or disrespectful. And do not pick fights or respond to abusive comments. Keep in mind that the same rules apply when sharing other people's comments, including retweeting and sharing links. So it is important to think critically about what you are sharing and do not post or forward unsubstantiated rumors. Montgomery Blair High School has a list of activities for students to do during the lunch period. You have activities in the gymnasium. You can sit and socialize with your friends. On gorgeous days outside, you can go out in the courtyard and socialize and eat your lunch there. So, and in addition, during this lunchtime, it's a great time for you to catch up with your teachers, get additional support where needed, and ask any questions on upcoming assignments. This all can be done during your lunch period. And this is what we call appropriate lunchtime activities. What's not appropriate? We are a closed campus lunch. Therefore, during lunchtime, you are not allowed to leave campus. You are to remain on campus and eat your lunch in all the designated areas that we have in the building. Once again, we are a closed campus lunch, and students are not permitted to leave campus during lunchtime. Attendance is essential for your academic success. There are a list of examples of excused absences on page 21 of the student plan book. Please familiarize yourself with examples of excused absences. Excused absences require a note from a parent or guardian within 3 days of the absence. Family vacations are not excused absences. Late arrival and departure, early departure. A note is required for both late arrivals and early departures. When you arrive after 8:05, you must sign in at the attendance office and provide the note indicating why you are late for school. Early departures, students must present their early departure note to the attendance office before 7:45. Hall pass protocol. You must have a pass when in the hallway or sitting in an area away from your classroom. If you do not have a pass, you are considered cutting class and or truant. Students with partial schedules are to be on school grounds only during their scheduled periods. and they are expected to leave school grounds immediately after their last class. Athletics. All sporting events, home or away, are considered an extension of the school day. Inappropriate behavior may lead to the students being asked to leave, no refund of the event, and additional school consequences based on your behavior. The bottom line is act appropriately to avoid consequences.
In MCPS, teachers, staff, and administrators follow progressive discipline guidelines if consequences are necessary based on student behavior. This means that students face increasingly strict consequences if specific behaviors are repeated. In the Code of Conduct book, there are 5 levels of responses outlined on pages 9 and 10. A Level 1 response is for minor infractions and can include meetings with school staff, parent conferences, detention, or peer mediation. Level 5 responses can include long-term suspensions and expulsions from school. The level of response varies depending on the severity and pervasiveness of the infraction. Certain factors that administrators and staff will consider when deciding on the level of response at the high school level can include previous disciplinary infractions, cultural or linguistic factors that may provide context to understand student behavior, the circumstances surrounding the incident, other mitigating or aggravating circumstances, such as references to or the inclusion of hate language, any imminent threat of serious harm. The Code of Conduct provides a range of response levels for each type of infraction. Class cutting, for example, typically receives a level 1, 2, or 3 response. Again, the level of response correlates to how pervasive the infractions are for a student. More serious infractions might start at a higher level of response. Responses to infractions involving alcohol, for example, start at level 3 and continue through level 5. Again, the severity and pervasiveness of the infraction would determine the level of response. Thank you for your attention to this presentation. The Code of Conduct is a set of behavioral standards that help keep everyone safe and healthy. We are grateful that students at Blair follow these standards out of respect for themselves and others. Adherence to the Code of Conduct allows our school to focus more on academic, social, and emotional growth of students.